canine demonstration for you guys. This is actually the first time we're going to have all three of our dogs here, so we're going to kind of trial by fire here, because typically we only have one or two dogs. So we're going to try to figure out how to do this with all three dogs. This is Canine Opus. All three of our dogs are what we call dual trained dogs, meaning that they're trained in patrol work and they're trained in narcotic work. This is Canine Vito, and over here we have Canine Phantom. Sergeant Bondrew handles Canine Vito, Patrolman Poznansky handles Canine Phantom, and I'm Patrolman Ward. Like I was explaining, all three of our dogs are what we call dual purpose. They're patrol trained and they're narcotic trained. I'm going to demonstrate real quick what a narcotic dog does when they alert, and how we do that when it searches cars. And I'm going to put him up, and then we're going to do a little criminal apprehension work with Vito. With Vito and Canine Phantom. So if you guys have any questions, just raise your hands as we go along. All three of our dogs came from overseas. They all started training when they were about a year to a year and a half old. Vito and Canine Opus are about 4 and 5 years old. And Canine Phantom, who's our newest dog, is about 2 years old. All our dogs work for the same thing. They work for their ball. That's their reward. That's their paycheck. Everything they do is for this ball. And we're going to demonstrate. He'll get his ball in a minute when we do the drug hide. By all means, step in. It's all me? All right, Sergeant said it's all on me. So it's all on me. That's why he's the boss, right?
Well, I did.
What's that? We weren't sure where you worked.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was down there. I was trying to switch him out.
Yeah.
Switch
So, like I said, all the dogs came from overseas. Vito and Opus came from the Netherlands, Germany, Slovakia. Canine Phantom came from Slovakia. These dogs are bred overseas strictly for this purpose. This is what they do. We don't typically buy dogs bred in the United States for a lot of reasons. The breedings over in Europe are a lot better. They're raised and they're trained, and this is what these dogs are raised for overseas. The breeding's a lot stricter over there. Does anybody have any questions at this point? I'm just going to show you, we have some drugs hidden in this car. I'm going to show you what it looks like when we do that. He's going to alert. He's what we call a passive alert, meaning he's going to... What? We have a question somewhere? Oh, right here? What's your question, buddy?
What do the dogs do?
What do they do? So they help us apprehend bad guys, and they help us find narcotics. All our dogs. All three of them are trained in the same thing. So he's considered what we consider passive. He's not going to scratch or bite or chew at the car. He's just going to take this giant nose of his and point it out to me in the car. Once he's doing that, I'm going to give him a signal, which allows him to come back and get his ball from me as reward. Canine Vito and Canine Phantom are both what we consider aggressive dogs. They're going to scratch at the source of where the odor is coming from. Is that yeah. So my job as a handler is to get him to check all the area. And you can tell he's got a lot of interest down here because he knows that's where it's at, and he's going to let me know. Does that all for his ball. It's pretty simple. We don't cause any damage to the, at least he doesn't cause any damage to the cars when he does it. And the drugs are actually hidden right underneath that corner, exactly where his nose is. And that's how they alert to us. You got a question, buddy?
Yeah. What's the car for?
What's the car for?
It's like a demonstration.
The fire department's gonna...
It's like a demonstration. See, that's how it's broken up.
You smell it. See, if you notice, Canine Vito is going to scratch at the car. It's just a different training method and how they alert to the car. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a different final alert that we use.
What do you do
So,
to the car?
I'm going to put him up here.
What do you want to? What do you want
We're
to
going to back everyone up for the apprehension work. They're done with it.
Yeah.
All right, demonstration time. Next to the fire truck.
All right. You guys want to talk? We'll
Canine unit.
we'll get everyone back up.
Music.
We're going to put Canine Opus back in the car so you guys can all see Canine Vito and Canine Phantom as well, all right? So give me 1 minute, I'll be back. And you guys can listen to Sergeant Bob.
I don't have nothing to give you.
Can I go in the top of the car?
So, yeah, I didn't bring him out here to do that. So, stay. So as Officer Moore explained to you, it's a pretty unique job that we do out here because the dog has abilities that we don't have, and that's why we utilize them. And like I tell kids all the time, which makes it a very, very obvious why we use them is because they have a lot bigger nose than us, so they can smell things that we can't smell. If we had that nose in the front of our face, the size of that thing, we wouldn't need dogs because we would walk around with that big nose and be able to smell everything. And that's primarily why we use them, is the olfactory senses. And as you can see, that though this is like a very controlled environment here with the narcotics, and there's real narcotics in there, it's DEA narcotics. The dog still can pick that up, where a human, if we put your nose near that, you're not going to smell that. So they do possess a very strong sense of smell. He knows what's coming next. This is kind of like their more exciting part of their job, as you can see. If you can tell, he's a little, yeah. As you can see, he gets a little bit more excited. No, see. So,
Excuse me?
All right, we just need a little bit more space to do this. I was hoping it'd feel a little bit more room. It's not.
So-
Everyone doesn't mind
No.
backing up a couple feet, give us a little bit more space.
So what we're going to show you next is called the criminal apprehension portion of it. The criminal apprehension portion is a necessary evil on extreme cases where we'll utilize the dog stay. Where we'll utilize the dog to take down a bad guy. And there could be multiple scenarios where we'll utilize the dog. A lot of times the fear factor alone will change somebody's mind. And as you can tell, he doesn't bark a lot, but if you've seen a dog acting like that and you were a bad guy, it may change your mind.
Over this, or will he stay there?
And ultimately, that's what we try to do. But sometimes there are scenarios or situations that we're put into where we utilize a dog as a police officer as a tool to take somebody into custody. It's very effective. A well-trained dog, it's a very effective tool. So in a normal, I guess there's really no normal circumstance where a bad guy is not obeying commands. Maybe he was beating somebody up. Maybe he's being threatening. We would try to give him a warning prior to deploying the dog. There may be some rogue scenario where that doesn't happen, where he's attacking us. The bad guy would be attacking us. The dog would then step in automatically. So we're going to show you. This is kind of like a short little scenario here. But you'll get a picture of how effective this could be if this happened. Stay. 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 You guys ready? Get him. Yeah, it's pretty effective, as you can imagine. If Officer Moore didn't have that thing on, if he didn't hurt, right? Yeah, they're short. So, as you can see, if he didn't
The
have
worst
that,
part of this is actually his nails on my leg.
Yeah.
Because my arm is protected, but I just have a thin pair of pants on that his nails are digging into.
I feel bad for you.
yeah, no.
Don't feel bad.
Leave. Heel. Heel. So, any questions about that? Phantom's gonna do it too, and it's a same thing. Yeah.
We're not going to do it all three.
Yeah. So, yeah, you guys probably seen some of this last week. So, that's pretty much how the scenario would go.
Oh, do you?
that's pretty much how the scenario would go, and that the dog would react that fast. That, as you can imagine, probably would send some shock waves to the bad guy and make him submit. It's more, this is just a game to this dog, just so you know. As you can see, he's not aggressive, he's not snarling, he's not going to be going really crazy, he's not a junkyard dog. So what they do here, this is a game. They don't realize what they're doing is biting. But that's why when this dog, I was walking around with another dog before, which you guys can pet, that's different. This dog, it's not like that. He doesn't know that biting somebody is actually a no-no. That's because it's allowed. And jumping on people. So any questions before? Yes, sir.
You know that dog, if there was a robber that had a microphone that talks like you, they still know what's in your heart.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Any other questions before we bring Phantom up? Yes, sir. All right, so they come here on a plane, and then they're at a kennel facility. No, they're at a kennel facility, and they might be there for a week. They might be there for 6 weeks before we go and purchase them before the class starts. They are friendly to us because we feed them. So when they start to get used to us, and they become our friends because we feed them. When we take them home, they just like your pet dog. They become your dog, and they become very faithful to you. Any other questions? All right, we're going to let Phantom come up.
All you, Tom.
All right, we're just going to show another apprehension again.
Because everyone wants to see that twice, right? Nobody wants to see the dog scratch a car. They want to see me get bit twice. That's more fun.
There's other parts of it, as they said, we put a lot of control into our dogs. All right, so we're going to try a little bit of a recall, just some control around the sleeve. All right, go with that.
You can do one of the control. I don't know. Just because it's tight. Just because it's got
No. Heel. Down. Boy, middle. Oh boy, so one of the hardest things for dogs to do is also out, come, out, heel. Down. So once again, this is just it's just his play toy, really. Get.
His job is to hold on until we give the command to let go.
So he's completely safe here. He will not come off unless I tell him to come off. So outside of that, that's it. We're going to slip the sleeve, so he just won his game. All right, and he gets to go play with it. All right, it's all about play. That's all they want.
So if you notice, the Belgian Malinois are a little bit, they're probably a good 20 pounds smaller than a German Shepherd. German Shepherds, you typically weigh about 95 to 100 pounds. Belgian Malinois, mine's about 65. Vito's probably got about 5-10 pounds on him. But if you also notice, what they lack in that size, they make up for in their speed and their insanity. Insanity does a great job of apprehending me and holding on, but how much harder and how much faster was Vito at that, right? So they got to take their small size and get that speed built up to make it that much more stronger for them. Whereas he doesn't need to do that because he's got 20 pounds on those dogs, and his sheer size alone is going to succeed in doing that.
I know he thinks that glove is a toy.
He does think that glove is a toy, you're right. So the dogs do come home with us. They are kenneled at our homes. They are around our families. Their diets are varied. Both those dogs eat regular dog food. My dog eats 3 pounds of raw meat a day, straight out of the package. I'm trying to think what else the common questions are. Does anybody have any questions that we haven't thought of? You got a question, buddy? What was that? They eat normal dog food. They eat normal kibble.
So he gets 3 in the morning, 3 at night.
My dog's a little different because he has indigestion issues, so he eats raw meat every day. So. You have anything you want to add? All right. I think we're good. If anyone has any questions, we'll be here. We'll have the dogs out all night long. We're more than happy to answer any questions. Our only rule is you can't pet the dog. So if we have the dogs, just don't come up and try and pet them. But we will answer any questions about the dogs, any questions you have about what it is we do with them and things like that. But we'll be out and about with the dogs for the remainder of the night, all right? So I thank you for your time. Thank you for coming, and enjoy the rest of your evening. And they're going to be tearing this car apart at 7 o'clock, 7-ish, with all the jaws of life and ripping the roofs off and stuff. So you guys may enjoy that. They're breaking a lot of stuff.